Quick question. If I ask you what made you feel fulfilled last year versus what kept you busy, could you actually tell me? Most people can't, not because they were not paying attention, but because memory is a terrible record keeper. Today, I'm going to walk you through 5 things your calendar can show you that your brain conveniently forgets, and why it matters if you want this year to feel different. By the end of this video, you will have a clear picture of where your time and energy actually went last year. Not a version you remember, but what actually happened. Here's why that distinction matters. The version you remember is filtered through hindsight, emotions, and what felt significant at the time. It's the version you think you spent your Saturdays relaxing when actually you were catching up on work emails. It's the version you remember attending that conference as a highlight when actually you spent 3 days feeling drained and disconnected. What actually happened is the unfiltered data. It could be the recurring Thursday meetings that adds into your creative time, or it could be a friend you kept saying yes to even though every interaction left you exhausted. Maybe it's the side project you started with enthusiasm in January that quietly disappeared by March, or the hours you spent scrolling instead of the hobby you said you would get back to. This gap between what you remember and what actually happened is where patterns hide. It's where you keep making the same decision year after year because you never see the real structure of how you spent your time. A quick introduction. I'm Jeannie. I teach design thinking, a human-centric approach to innovation and psychology at a polytechnic in Singapore, exploring why we do what we do and how we can design better solutions. I am also a certified image consultant and business etiquette trainer. Through masterclasses and private consultations at jeanniechia.com, I help women curate wardrobes that bring up the best in them. After this video, you will walk away with a practical system for identifying what drained you versus what energized you, so you can finally stop guessing why you feel unfulfilled. And most importantly, you spot the invisible patterns that have been running your life, the ones that keep you saying yes to everything except what you actually want. This means you will stop wondering why you feel scattered despite being productive. You will understand exactly which commitments are stealing your energy and which ones are worth protecting. And you will finally have the data you need to make different choices this year, not based on monumental goals that don't quite align with your values, but what actually works for you. Here's why this step is non-negotiable. You can't build an intentional year if you don't understand where and how the last one actually went. Most people set the same goals every January because they skip this step. They plan forward without looking back. They rely on memory to tell them what worked and what didn't. But our memory doesn't offer us the accurate data points needed to contextualize our situation. Without accurate data, you misdiagnose the problem. You think you need better time management when actually you're committed to things that don't quite move the needle. You think you need more discipline when actually you are forcing yourself towards goals that don't align with the life you desire. You set goals without questioning whether they bring you closer to the person you want to be. And that's where the cycle repeats. Busy, overwhelmed, drifting. So here's what changes when you do this work properly. Instead of starting another year reactive and scattered, you know exactly where to direct your energy. Instead of saying yes to everything that comes along and pulling you in all directions except the one you wish to land, you will have the clarity on what deserves your time and what doesn't. Instead of setting monumental goals that don't quite align with your value, you will build a year around what actually makes you feel fulfilling. By having clarity, you move from constantly busy or drifting to intentionally focused. You stop wondering why nothing feels quite right and start designing a year that feels right for you. You finally break the cycle of achieving without fulfillment or drifting because you are unsure what action to take next. Now, you know what fulfillment actually looks like for you. That's what this review gives you, not just reflection, but the foundation for real change. Here are 5 things your calendar will review that your memory won't. Your brain remembers peaks, endings, and emotionally charged moments. This is called hindsight bias. Once you know how the year turned out, your mind can rewrite the story so it feels more predictable than it really was, as if you should have seen it coming all along. You also experience availability bias. You remember recent or dramatic events more easily than mundane patterns that actually shaped your year. And for this reason, it's not a great idea to refer to your social media for this data either. Your Instagram or Facebook timeline shows you the same filtered version your memory does. The carefully curated highlights the moments you choose to share, the experiences that look amazing in a photo. Social media reinforces the gap between what looked significant and what actually shaped how you felt day to day. If you want accurate data about your year, you need to look at your calendar, not your camera roll. Your actual daily experience is in fact shaped by the recurring meetings, the commute, the Sunday evenings you spend preparing for the following work week. Your fulfillment isn't determined by the highlights, it's determined by the quality of your ordinary days. If your Mondays drain you or Wednesday feel like you're treading water and your Fridays are just survival, it doesn't matter how brilliant that 1 week holiday was if you're spending the rest of the 51 weeks feeling unfulfilled. This is why you can have an objectively successful year, the promotion, the trip, the milestones, and still feel empty because success in memory and fulfillment in daily life are two completely different things. I have another video that walks you through exactly why this happens and how to set goals that actually create lasting fulfillment. It's called The Real Reason Your Goals Keep Failing. The link is at the top. When you look at your actual daily experience, you see where your energy actually went. You see the commitments that quietly drained you every single week. You see the patterns that shaped how you felt most days, not just on days you remember. And that's the data you need if you want to build a year that doesn't just photograph well, but actually feels good to live. You can't change what you can't see accurately, and our memory doesn't offer us the accurate data points needed to contextualize our situation. Here's what this leads to. You will set goals based on highlight reels moments instead of addressing the actual structure of your days. You will optimize for more peaks without questioning what's filling the valleys. You will repeat the same patterns because you never saw them clearly in the first place. So here's what to do. Open your calendar and review the past 12 months. Don't analyze yet, just observe what actually filled your days, not just what you wish filled them or what you vaguely remember. What does the data say? Look at work meetings versus creative time, obligations versus choices, reactive tasks versus proactive projects, time with people who energize you versus people who deplete you, time for yourself versus time directed by others' agenda. If you are feeling uncomfortable right now, that's completely normal. Noticing is enough. We are gathering data, not judging ourselves. The calendar doesn't lie, but it also doesn't condemn. It just shows you reality, and the reality is where change begins. The gap between memorable and meaningful. The things you remember most aren't always the things that mattered most. Conference you attended, memorable. Did it energize you? Quiet Tuesday evenings, cooking, forgettable. Did they restore you? This is why people say the year flew by. They are living on autopilot in habitual living mode, doing things without consciously choosing them. If you only optimize for memorable experience, you will choose monumental goals that look significant but don't align with what brings you closer to the person you want to be. Fulfillment often lives in the mundane, recurring rhythms of your week and small things that no one notices. The things you barely remember might be the things that actually sustained you. And this is key. They might be invisible energy drains you keep tolerating because they don't feel significant enough to change. But death by 1,000 paper cuts is still death. The energy drains add up. Look specifically for recurring weekly commitments, monthly patterns, the invisible activities that didn't look significant but took consistent time, team dinners every Thursday, scrolling before bed, the extra projects you said yes to, the favors that became expectations. Energy is a useful signal, and I'm going to introduce you to the energy labeling system we will use throughout this audit. Your emotional responses carry data about what works for you. Not all stress is bad. There's eustress, which is energizing stress, and distress, which is depleting stress. The same activities can feel different depending on context, timing, and alignment with values. Most productivity advice ignores this completely. It treats all completed tasks as equal wins, but your nervous system knows the difference between fulfilling hard work versus soul-draining hard work. If you don't distinguish between what energizes you and what depletes you, you will keep building a life that looks productive but feels exhausting. You will say yes to whatever that comes along and pulling you in all directions except the one you wish to land. You will avoid challenging work that actually make you come alive because you conflated difficult with draining. Energy is the signal that tells you what's aligned and what's not, but only if you are paying attention. Here's how we are going to label your activities throughout this audit. CF, currently fulfilling. This means it energizes you, aligns with what you value, and you choose it again, and it moves you closer to the life and the person you want to be. E plus, energy positive. This might be challenging, but it leaves you feeling alive, capable, and engaged. It stretches you in ways that feel aligned with where you want to go. E minus, energy negative. This drains you, leaves you depleted, and you avoid it if possible. It doesn't bring you closer to the life you want. It pulls you further from it. This isn't about easy versus hard. Some hard things are deeply fulfilling, like a difficult conversation with a friend you care about. That's energy positive. Some easy things are soul draining, and this could look very different for everyone. That's energy negative. The label isn't about difficulty, it's alignment. Go back to your calendar now. Start labeling CF, E plus, E minus. Notice where your time actually went. Was it mostly fulfilling, energizing, or draining? What percentage of your year was spent in each category? If most of your year is landing in energy negative, that's information. That is why we are doing this work. This is data, not a statement about you. If your year was structured in a way that worked against you, now you can see it, and you can see you can change. You can't change what you can't see. Most people set the same goals every January because they haven't examined why last year's version didn't stick. Unexamined patterns have a gravity to them. They pull you back even when you consciously want to change. This is the difference between surface level goal setting and structural change. If you don't identify your repeating patterns, January 2027 will look exactly like January 2026. You will set the same goals with the same enthusiasm and wonder why they fizzle out by March. The pattern isn't about willpower, it is about trying to change behavior without understanding the structure beneath it. Once you see the pattern, you can design around it. Instead of fighting through it, you stop self-blame and start redesigning your environment. Look for times you said yes when you wanted to say no, commitments you kept out of obligation, not what you had wanted, moments you prioritized monumental goals over goals that aligned with your values, the same complaints or frustration appearing multiple times across different months. I'm too busy showing up again and again. I will do it next month. That never happened. What did you intend to change last January that you're still doing? Look at specifics. Not, I will be healthier, but I said I stopped checking email on weekends and I'm still doing it. Patterns repeat because they served a purpose, maybe avoiding conflict, maintaining an identity, meeting others' expectations, staying safe. The question to ask is, how are they serving you, or are they just running in the background? This is data, not judgment, and small moments often matter most. When you review your year, you're looking for signal in the noise. The currently fulfilling and energy positive moments show you where your real values live. These are often quieter, less monumental, and easily dismissed. Your fulfillment doesn't live in where you think it does. It lives in the activities you often talk yourself out of prioritizing. When you honor these moments, you design a year around what actually energizes you, not what appears significant on paper. These overlooked moments are showing you what truly matters to you. This is where you find clarity for designing an intentional year, more of what filled you up, less of what you tolerated. The goal isn't to make every moment profound, it is to notice which moments left you feeling energized and aligned. Look for moments labeled currently fulfilling that surprised you. Activities that you almost didn't prioritize because that left you feeling alive. Times you feel more like yourself, just present. Maybe it was the walk you took instead of working through lunch. Maybe it was the conversation you nearly cancelled. Maybe it was the weekend you protected from plans. What patterns do you notice in your currently fulfilling moments? What was present? What was absent? Were you with certain people in certain environments, doing certain types of work? Were you alone or with others? Were you creating or consuming? These patterns are your blueprints. They show you the conditions where you naturally engage, where effort feels meaningful, not depleting. Before we close, pause here. Take a moment with what you've just seen. This isn't just data. This is your life, and it deserves acknowledgement. Now that you are looking at this information closely, how would you describe how you feel about your year in one word? Not what it looked like from the outside, but how it actually felt to live it. One word. Whatever came up, that's valid. Write it down. Finally, think about the year ahead. What words do you need to carry with you? Words that will support you moving into this brand new year. Not motivational poster words, but real grounding words that feel true. Write down 2 to 3 words. These are your anchors. Whenever you are making decisions this year, come back to these words. Do they support the person you want to become and what you are building? You have just done something most people never do. You look honestly at where your time and energy actually went. You labeled what drained you, what energized you, and what felt fulfilling. You spotted patterns that keep repeating, and you have named how your year actually felt, not the highlight reel version, the lived version. This isn't just reflection, this is foundation for everything that comes next. Without this step, you will be setting goals without concrete information. Now you have data about what works for you and what doesn't, about where fulfillment actually lives for you. We have come to the end of this video, and I'd love to hear from you. In the comments below, share one word for your past year. 2 or 3 words to support you in this brand new year. I read every comment, and seeing how this lands for different people helps me create content that actually serves you. Thank you for watching this video. I will see you in the next one.